Nature is a living system. It manages complexity with astonishing grace through biodiversity, food chains, and feedback loops. But rather than adapting to nature, humans have increasingly imposed control over the environment. We have reshaped landscapes and manipulated ecosystems to meet our needs. This control has come at a cost. We've triggered cascading degradation across the planet. The information age, at first blush, filled us with naive optimism. We believed that technological progress would be able to solve the challenges faced by our modern world. But what we see now is that our problems transformed concurrently. Interconnectivity and technological developments have opened the world to new forms of isolation, disruption, and inequity. We now experience globally the effects of war, pathogens, human migrations, and economic and ecological disasters on an unprecedented scale. Progress solves some problems, but creates others, often with unpredictable and dire consequences. These challenges are big and refractory issues, such as poverty, climate change, and pandemics. They are interrelated issues, looping through one another in dynamic ways. People, society, and nature coexist as a single ecosystem. Entangled, complex problems demand complex ways of knowing beyond any single disciplinary expertise. Our survival depends on how well we collaborate and find common ground. Transdisciplinary invites us to go beyond silos, to collaborate, weaving holistic solutions to complex problems. Collaborations where complexity is not reduced but embraced, a place where complex issues can be felt and seen from different perspectives. It challenges us to stop asking, who is the expert, and start asking, who is missing from the conversation. At Relational Space, we have envisioned a participatory platform for cross-sector collaboration, inclusive, intersectional, and alive to the possibilities of solidarity. Over 3 virtual sessions, artists and scientists engaged in radical, collaborative dialogue to discuss transdisciplinarity in order to co-curate an immersive arts and science exhibition. The exhibition was installed in June 2024 and spanned the campus of Brunel University in London. Participants created an interactive, multi-sensory experience for visitors about the possibilities offered by cross-pollination. The exhibition tells a story about the ways that bodies move, interact, and experience the world based on identities, ways of knowing, perceptual differences, power differentials, and empowerment. At registration, attendees were given a card ring with a map of the exhibition route on one side. As they traveled across campus, visitors were invited to reflect on 4 themes: control, ability, success, and power. Encountering installations with soundscapes, visual art, scientific insight, and multi-sensory opportunities for engagement. The exhibition mirrored one's journey through life, where each human, by chance, is born with certain traits, geography, gender, ethnicity, and other circumstances, and must negotiate issues of control, ability, power and privilege, success, and failure. We ask, how do bodies live, transform, relate, and die within systems? Which bodies belong and which are excluded. The journey began in John Crank Gardens, where visitors explored illusions of control, a resynthesized 30-minute soundscape looped through sculptural speakers. Chairs and mats were strewn across the lawn, offering each person freedom to move at one's own pace, to sit alone, engage with others, reflect quietly, or explore with the soundscape, asking what are your expectations and what impacts the choices that you make. Visitors could join in with playful sound making by shaking jars filled with different colored stones. Jars set on each of the 12 mats with labels suggesting things such as shake to join in if you own property, shake to join in as long as you don't dissent, shake to join in if you were a citizen, or shake to join in as long as your skin is light. In Space 2 Ability, visitors arrived at a large tent. A net stretched across the ceiling was broken beneath the weight of injustice, embodied by fallen stones amassed beneath the tear. Along the floor, placards delineated the 10 disability justice principles, which were also being read aloud by one of the participants in a continuous taped loop and accompanied by another participant's acoustic composition. Visitors pondered the principles as they reflected on the installation's depiction of injustice and exclusion. When they arrived at the rear of the tent, they were greeted by student guides who encouraged them to create their own stone depiction to add to and evolve the exhibition. Participation enhances engagement and personifies the constancy of change by allowing visitors to personalize their experience, contribute their perspective, and co-create meaning. Along the far wall, 5 scales were weighted with illustrated stones, reflecting the abilities of cognition, sight, hearing, energy, and movement. A sign read, "These scales are broken." In another tent, a third space, visitors were confronted with a 6-sided structure and met with the question, how do you define success? Visitors pondered images and objects related to this question. Is success equality, or is it having privilege and dominance? Is it possessing luxury clothing to show off wealth to others? Or does success come from minimizing waste for sustainability? Is success driving an expensive car as a status symbol? Or is it reducing greenhouse gas? Is it border control? Or is it safety and freedom? Is success affordable health care? Or is it profit beyond concerns for health or addiction? Shelter is essential for human survival, but at what point does the success of home ownership become housing failure for others? In an adjoining room, visitors participated in a creative competition where things did not go as expected. They competed to make a winning craft piece with available supplies and a limited time frame, but the judging criteria was confusing. Some participants always succeeded, regardless of the quality of their work. Some always failed, and others succeeded or failed based on chance alone. Visitors thus examined who are the winners and who makes the decisions about what constitutes success and failure. The exhibit utilized transitional spaces. the spaces between the 4 installations, for the mapping of things, and to explore sense-making as an embodied process, to express, capture, and disseminate knowledge. Visitors were presented with opportunities to interact with the exhibition in playful and accessible ways. Along the route, they encountered movable blocks, drawing with chalk, and building with colorful construction materials. Mounted video cameras triggered by motion sensors mapped visitor movement through the exhibition and their interactions with the materials. Finally, visitors arrived at Space 4, Power, at the Brunel Arts Center. Here, visitors viewed an invited sculpture installation. Ceramic works by artist Carta Thomas explored quiescence, a condition that is dormant, quiet, and currently invisible, but always underlying and inescapably present in the body. This curated space encouraged reflections on how bodies are valued differently, the interaction of identity with power, examining power over versus power to, and on the collective power that results from our interconnectedness and solidarity, including themes of access, belonging, inclusion, fragility, accessibility, and transformation. Along one wall, mounted photographs portrayed digital technologies within the intimate, everyday spaces where bodies are aging. These images examine the human impact of digital technologies and the datafication of bodies, especially older bodies. At the rear of the gallery, a studio space was set up where visitors were invited to co-create this exhibition by shaping small amounts of clay along with the artist to produce artifacts of their own choosing for inclusion in the gallery. Prompts were provided, such as pinch, join, stroke, bridge, adhere, and release. Visitors explored force, pressure, position, and relational embodiment. This event empowered creativity and multisensory engagement through immersive participation. In a gallery side room, a relaxing contemplative space was installed for the viewing of Wild Geese, a film production of visual art, sound, poetry, and dance, a collaborative interpretation of a poem by Mary Oliver, as read by Rhonda Schaller, asking, does meditation, deep listening, and empathy unlock an inner wisdom and nourish connection between the body and the soul? This arts and science exhibition aims to inspire new ways of knowing for collective flourishing, moving us from what we know to what we can imagine. A better future will be shaped by how we come together to face the complexity before us, where everyone has a voice. This is the power of transdisciplinarity. This is what relational space makes possible through exhibition and the creation of new environments where non-hierarchical, cross-sector, co-created knowledge emerges. Transdisciplinary spaces can spark a revolution of collaborative intelligence and promote inclusive solutions, compassionate creativity, and transformational social change. Together we can build a more just and sustainable world, inspired by art and informed by truth.